Listen. You're not broke because you're not working hard. You're broke because you talk too much and do too little. The ones who win, the real players, don't broadcast their every move on social media. They're not out here yelling about grinding or hustling. They're quiet, silent, deadly. They don't tell the world what they're building. They don't announce the money they're making. They build empires in silence while others tweet about starting one. You think power comes from attention? You've been lied to. Power comes from control. Control of time, money, energy, and attention. The moment the world knows your every step, it starts working against you. Want to build something real? Then shut up and execute. While others are clapping for likes, you stay focused on assets, strategy, freedom. Let them dance for the algorithm. You're playing the game behind the curtain, stacking moves like a chess master. 3 steps ahead of everyone. They'll see the mansion, they'll see the cars, they'll see the lifestyle. But they'll never see the moves that built it, because you didn't need applause, you needed results. That's how real wealth is built. That's how legends are made, and that's how the game is truly played. Stay quiet, move smart, win loud. Silence is strategy, not weakness. This is a concept most people never understand because they've been raised to believe that being loud equates to being strong. They think that if you're not announcing your goals, posting your grind, and talking about your plans, then you must not be doing anything. But that's a mindset for losers, people who value attention more than actual results. Look at the real players in any game. Whether it's business, politics, tech, or the underground networks that really run the world, the individuals pulling the strings are never the ones screaming for recognition. They operate in the shadows, not because they're afraid, but because they're calculated. They know that once the spotlight is on, it becomes a distraction. Noise attracts noise. And when you're making real moves, moves that shift your entire life, you don't need noise. You need focus, control, and precision. Silence is the edge. It's your protection. When nobody knows what you're working on, nobody can attack it. When people don't see your next move, they can't block it. Think of it like war. The most dangerous strike isn't the one you see coming, it's the one that happens before you even know there's a war going on. That's how the wealthy operate. They don't telegraph their plays because they understand that broadcasting your intentions only invites resistance. Weak minds seek validation. They want to be seen grinding. They want people to clap for them. But real power doesn't need applause. Real power builds in silence and reveals itself only in results. The moment you learn to stop explaining yourself, stop proving yourself, and stop showcasing every minor win, you start winning on a different level. You build with freedom. You operate without judgment. You move without interference. This is how wealth works. It's not just about having money. It's about playing a game that others don't even know exists. And part of that game is understanding that silence is your most powerful move. When you stay quiet, you conserve energy. You direct your focus where it matters. Execution, learning, and scaling. Every word you don't say becomes time you invest into building. Every plan you don't reveal becomes a fortress no one can tear down. The loudest person in the room is usually the weakest. That's not a metaphor. That's a fact. They're loud because they need people to believe they're doing something big. They're insecure. They're addicted to perception. But the real ones, the ones changing their lives, stacking assets, securing freedom, they're ghosting the noise. They're working in the background while everyone else is performing for the crowd. If you truly want to dominate, learn to move like a ghost with a target. Move like a weapon that's been sharpened in private, not for show, but for war. Strategy isn't built on noise. It's built on vision, discipline, and silence. Talking gets you nowhere. Silence gets you in position. And when the moment comes to strike, you do it so clean, so sharp, so effectively, that people don't even realize you were in the game until it's too late. Silence is not weakness. It's chess, not checkers. Loud people chase validation. Quiet people chase results. This is the fundamental difference between those who pretend to be winning and those who are actually winning. In today's world, attention has become a drug. People are addicted to likes, comments, followers, and fake digital applause. They think that if others see them trying, struggling, or pretending to succeed, then it somehow counts as success. But here's the truth: if you're shouting about your goals and not achieving them, you're not hustling, you're performing. And performance doesn't build empires, execution does. Validation is a trap. It makes you think you're progressing just because people see you trying. But the reality is, the more you talk, the less you do. When your energy is focused on being seen, your focus isn't on the process, it's on the perception. That's why loud people stay stuck. They chase the dopamine of being noticed. They confuse attention with respect. But respect doesn't come from noise. It comes from results that can't be denied. On the flip side, quiet people understand the value of stealth. They don't care if you see them working. They don't need your approval, your compliments, or your recognition. They're not trying to look successful. They're becoming successful. Every moment they're not bragging is a moment spent building, investing, improving, and preparing. While others are updating their social media about grind mode, the quiet ones are in actual grind mode. No cameras, no updates, just discipline. People who chase validation end up living lives built on the expectations of others. They make decisions to impress, not to grow. They buy things they can't afford to look wealthy instead of doing the boring work to become wealthy. But the ones who chase results, they're different. They buy time, freedom, and power, not status. They make sacrifices no one sees, and when the rewards come, they don't need to explain. The success speaks loud enough. You see, chasing validation makes you predictable. It makes you easy to manipulate. If all someone has to do is applaud you to control you, you've already lost the game. But when you're driven by purpose and not praise, you're dangerous. You can't be controlled. You become focused, disciplined, and immune to distractions. And that's when you start moving like a real winner, quiet, sharp, and unstoppable. So if you're serious about your life, stop telling people what you're about to do. Stop needing their approval. Stop trying to impress strangers who don't even care. Let your silence be your edge. Let your work do the talking. Because the world doesn't need another loud loser. It needs more quiet professionals who are too busy winning to post about it. You don't get remembered for what you said you were going to do. You get remembered for what you built when no one was watching. Validation fades. Results last forever. Wealthy minds think in decades, not days. That's the real difference between people who win long term and people who never get out of survival mode. Most people are addicted to the short term, instant results, overnight success, fast money, and immediate gratification. They make decisions based on the next few hours, days, or at best, weeks. They want to be rich now, famous now, respected now. But that mindset is the very reason they stay broke, unknown, and average. Wealth isn't created in a rush. It's created with strategy, discipline, and time. The people who build real empires, the ones whose names last longer than their lifetimes, are thinking in decades. They're not making decisions to impress people this weekend. They're not gambling their future for momentary hype. They're planting seeds today that won't bear fruit for 5, 10, even 20 years. But they're patient because they know exactly where they're headed. While everyone else is reacting to life, they're designing it. When your mind is locked into short-term thinking, you fall for every distraction. You chase trends. You buy liabilities to look successful instead of stacking assets that create actual freedom. You're constantly stressed, constantly broke, and constantly confused because you have no map. Only a desperate need to feel good now. But the wealthy don't care about feeling good now. They care about being untouchable later. That's why they're willing to disappear, to sacrifice, to endure. Because they understand that the long game always pays the most. Thinking in decades means saying no to cheap thrills. It means working when others are partying. It means investing in skills, knowledge, and opportunities instead of wasting time on meaningless drama or temporary pleasure. It's about becoming so obsessed with the future you want that you stop living like the average person today. And ironically, when you live like no one else now, you get to live like no one else later. The people who get rich and stay rich are never in a hurry. They're not trying to go viral. They're not chasing clout. They're stacking wins slowly and consistently, while the rest of the world burns itself out chasing shadows. And when their time comes, when their results show up, it looks like they exploded out of nowhere. But the truth is, they've been grinding in silence for years while no one noticed. That's how power is built. So if you're serious about becoming wealthy, stop thinking like a child. Stop measuring success in days. Start thinking like an architect, not a gambler. Every choice you make today should align with who you want to be a decade from now. You want real wealth? Real freedom. Real power. Then start thinking in years, not minutes. Build like your legacy depends on it, because it does. Discipline is the real flex. Not the car, not the watch, not the mansion. Those are just side effects. What actually separates the powerful from the powerless is discipline. In a world addicted to comfort, convenience, and shortcuts, discipline is rare. And that's why it's so valuable. Anyone can be motivated for a day. Anyone can start something with excitement, but only the disciplined finish what they start. Only the disciplined rise to the top. You see, most people don't have discipline. They have emotion. And emotion is unstable. It changes with the weather, the mood, the opinion of others. Emotion says, I'll do it tomorrow, or I'm too tired, or it's not fair. But discipline doesn't care how you feel. Discipline doesn't wait for the perfect conditions. Discipline gets up at 5 a.m. when it's cold, when you're sore, when no one's watching. Because it's not about the feeling, it's about the mission. And that's what people don't get. Real success isn't emotional. It's mechanical. It's showing up daily, doing the work, repeating the process until results appear. The disciplined don't need motivation. They have structure. They build habits that don't rely on how hyped they feel. They don't waste time complaining, blaming, or wishing. They act. They know that doing what needs to be done, especially when they don't feel like it, is what builds resilience. And resilience is how you survive storms, outlast competition, and keep moving forward when everyone else gives up. Discipline isn't sexy. It's not flashy. It's not fun. It's early mornings, late nights, uncomfortable conversations, and lonely hours when you're working and the rest of the world is relaxing. But discipline gives you something the undisciplined will never have: freedom. The freedom to control your time, your money, your environment. The freedom to say no when everyone else is forced to say yes because they're weak, broke, or desperate. Look around. The loudest people, the most emotional, the most dramatic, they're the ones who lack discipline. They chase attention because they have no results. But the ones who stay calm, who move consistently, who don't need to shout about their grind, they're usually the most dangerous. Because they're not working for applause. They're working for power. Discipline is what turns potential into reality. It's what takes average men and turns them into giants. It's what turns chaos into order, failure into mastery, and struggle into dominance. And if you want to rise, if you truly want to become elite, then you better get obsessed with discipline. Forget about being motivated. Motivation fades. Build a routine. Create a code. Stick to it. Even when it's boring. Even when it hurts. Even when no one sees it. Because one day, when the rewards come pouring in, when everyone's shocked at how fast you rose, you'll know the truth. They weren't watching the years you spent in silence, in sacrifice, in solitude. But that's where the real flex was. That's where you built the version of yourself that can't be broken. Discipline did that. Not hype. Not luck. Discipline. The real game isn't being seen. It's being untraceable. In a world obsessed with attention, exposure, and visibility, the smartest players have already moved underground. While everyone else is busy documenting every move, every meal, every little win, the real operators are building systems so clean, so silent, that by the time anyone notices them, it's too late to compete. They're not interested in clout. They're interested in control, and control comes from anonymity, not popularity. Being untraceable doesn't mean hiding in fear. It means moving with precision. It means not allowing your enemies to study your blueprint. It means you don't show people your hand. You let them guess while you stack your wins in silence. The real game is about unpredictability. If they can't figure out your next step, they can't counter it. If they don't know what you're building, they can't block it. And if they don't see your strategy, they can't steal it. Most people give away everything for free: plans, ideas, goals, location, income, mindset. And they wonder why they never win. It's because they're playing a game of chess with their cards face up. The more people know about you, the easier you are to control, distract, or sabotage. The best advantage you can ever hold is secrecy. While everyone else is trying to be known, be the one they can't figure out. Being untraceable means no one knows your next move, your full capacity, or your true intentions. It means when you win, it looks like it happened overnight, but only because no one saw the years of strategy, failure, and evolution that got you there. It means you control the narrative. You release only what benefits you and keep the rest locked down tight. That's power, not noise, not visibility. Power is in silence, in mystery, in the unknown. Think about the most dangerous people in the world. They don't talk much, they observe. They analyze. They strike when it matters. The louder someone is, the weaker their position usually is. Real power doesn't announce itself. It doesn't need validation. It doesn't need followers or views or engagement. It needs leverage, execution, and silence. That's how kings move. You don't owe the world access to your life. You don't need to broadcast your success or justify your goals. The second you stop trying to be seen and start focusing on building leverage in silence, the faster you start separating yourself from the herd. You become less reactive, less emotional, and more focused. Every move becomes intentional. Every step calculated. That's the real game. Play smart, let others chase recognition. You chase results, let them talk. You act, let them perform. You produce. Because the loud ones burn out, but the untraceable ones, they stay in control. Always. The loudest one in the room is usually the weakest. That's not just a saying, it's a reality proven over and over in every arena of life. Look closely and you'll see it. The ones who talk the most, brag the most, flex the most, they're covering something: insecurity, lack of results, a hollow foundation. Noise is a distraction, a mask for mediocrity. Real strength doesn't have to scream. It moves in silence, it wins quietly, and when it arrives, it doesn't announce itself. It dominates. Weak people need noise to feel relevant. They want validation. They seek applause. They need people to recognize them because they have no internal confirmation of who they are. So they build an image, rented cars, fake watches, forced confidence, desperate quotes, all to hide the fact that they're lost, uncertain, and easily broken. But power doesn't need an audience. Power just is. A truly strong person walks into a room and doesn't need to say a word. The energy shifts because presence speaks louder than performance. You can feel the weight of someone who knows who they are, what they want, and how to get it. They don't need to convince anyone. They've already convinced themselves. That's why they don't argue, don't beg, don't chase. They attract, they decide, they execute. In every industry, in every circle, the ones at the top are usually the quietest. They don't waste time talking about the grind. They're too busy in it. They're not online arguing with strangers or posting for likes. They're building, they're refining, they're preparing, because they understand that talk is cheap, but results are final. And when those results show up, the noise shuts down. Every crit, every doubter, every loud mouth gets humbled by undeniable outcomes. Being quiet isn't weakness. It's strategy, it's focus, it's self-control. It means you're secure enough to move without applause, strong enough to grow without attention, and wise enough to know that the real flex isn't in being heard, it's in being felt. When people feel your presence without you saying a word, you've already won. So next time you see someone screaming for attention, showing off, trying too hard. Just smile. You already know they're playing from behind. Real players don't need noise. They've got direction. They've got vision. They've got patience. And that's why they always end up in positions the loud ones can only dream about. Because while noise fades, power lasts.